Oh hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna discuss like few traps that you should know, right? So that you can win quick, or you might as well avoid losing quick if you understand them, right? So I'm gonna discuss few of them which gonna come to my mind, ones that I can remember. If I cannot, I'm gonna stop, right? So let me start from the hardest, not really the hardest, but uncommon one, right? So this one comes from a position of Scandinavian. Scandinavian is simply e4, d5, pawn takes, right? You have to take. Let me remove the engine. You have to take, right? So black chooses to develop rather than taking immediately. Then white is not greedy, plays d4, knight takes. I'm gonna play quick. C4, it's natural. Knight comes here, provoking white to check, thinking that it's gonna win material. Blocks with the other knights. One might be provoked to play here first, but it's a wrong move because there's b5. It's just a long variation, but I'm not gonna cover it, but just know it's wrong, right? So white plays here first, of which is correct. Black goes back. Then now white has this move, right? d5, which looks like it's winning but not really. We have knight to c5, right? So black here wants to be greedy because he wants to take this material, this knight I mean to say, right? So he's gonna insist and come here, isn't it? It looks correct, isn't it? So now, what is black gonna do? Black's just gonna play e6, e6. What is white gonna do? Take here. After taking here, what's next? We're gonna trap black now with b6. Where is black gonna go from here? Can he come here? No, we can't. Where is black going? Can he come here? Not really. If he comes here, we have knight here, check, x-ray. We're gonna take the queen, right? So this puzzle is quite hard, might not be clear for now. What is black gonna try here? There's bishop here, which wins material immediately. So I don't know if there's any other alternative for now. Probably king here. King here, avoiding the check, right? So that when he comes here, or when he plays the bishop here, he can come here and the check does not exist anymore, right? So black now can play where? Black can now play a4. A4 prevents this square now, so that even when we come here, white cannot go anywhere. So the queen is fully trapped now. So there's nothing that white can really do here unless I'm missing something, right? So let's discuss the next puzzle. Let me just check the name of the next puzzle. We're gonna discuss Albin counter gambit. So how does Albin counter gambit looks like? Let me swap the board for now. Alright, so it's d4, d5 is normal, then c4 it's queen's gambit. The reason they say it's Albin counter gambit is because it's counter. You play a gambit against a gambit. So you're gonna play what is it? e5. Let me just confirm the next move. D capture e5. Okay, D capture e5. D capture e5. Right, this is the correct move. Right. So the idea of the gambit here is to play d4. Right. So the third move here, or the fourth move, I don't know which move is it, is very sensitive. If white plays here, the game is kinda lost. It's a bad move because now we have a check here. Which piece is more natural to block with? I find it more natural to block with the bishop. We check it from a human perspective, not the best move, right? The knight cannot be played here, probably it blocks the bishop, right? So the bishop is gonna be played here, of course. Now the trap lies here. You take here. After taking it, it's more natural to take a free piece. That's why it's called a trap, because you give someone something so that you can take something from them. Is a trap, right? So now the check here. After the check, the king cannot take, because if the king takes, we're gonna take the whole queen, right? So now the king has to come here, right? Here's an interesting move. You can play check here first, but they're gonna block with the knight, right? So that check is not that powerful. So what do we do first? We get rid of the knight, right? Which piece are we gonna promote? We want forceful moves. Forceful moves are checks. So I know that when I promote with the knight, it's gonna be a check. So he has to respond to the check. So by responding, he's gonna take here. After taking, do you notice that now there's no protector? So I can play my queen here. Sorry, what's going on? Am I missing something? Check here, right? So after the check, what's gonna happen? The king is to go somewhere. If the king goes here, checkmate. I'm lying, it's not a checkmate, but we want a whole material. We want material, right? So that's the idea of the trap. Let's proceed. What is our next trap? Our next trap is the elephant trap. It arises from d4. It's simply d4, d5 if I'm not mistaken, c4 as natural, right? You can play knight f6 first if you want to. The ideas of Queen's Gambit is knight to c3, isn't it? Then probably black can play something like, let me see, maybe e6, protecting, adding more protectors. Then bishop to g5 is natural to put more pressure and pin the piece, make it a bit not that active. So now black decides to make a weird move here, which is knight to d, knight b to d7. You understand? Protecting the knight, but as well, this pawn looks weak now because it has less protectors, right? So that's where the trap lies. If white decides to go for the piece, black can take, and if decides to capture here, because it's gonna capture here because the knight is pinned. If the knight moves, it's gonna take the queen. That's the idea, right? So okay, fine, we're gonna give white the queen. He can take the queen, but notice now that we're gonna have more material. It's a check, and the only protector is the queen. So we're gonna take the queen, king takes, right? So if you realize that we are up with material now, 1, 2, 3. So because I'm moving fast, you can just write them down, because I don't have much time to to be slow, right? Because I want the video to be short. So let's proceed to the next puzzle. So we gave white our queen first, then we took his, but gaining more material. So let's check the next trap. Fried liver attack, right? Fried liver attack, I find it to be more interesting. e4 first, e5, more like an Italian game. Knight to f3, knight to c6, everything is natural, right? So after knight to c6, we have bishop to c4. Therefore, here's the natural move, knight to f6. Knight to f6, you're developing your knight, you're putting pressure, but the fried liver attack starts here when you play knight to g5, putting more pressure here, right? So the natural move here to make for black to block is, you can't play the queen here, because if you play the queen, I can still capture. So what else can we do, right? So we need to, and it's not ideal to come here, because if you come here, I'm gonna take check, then win your rook, right? So black will try something here. Black will try d5. After d5, we'll take here, and you notice that black can still take here, right? Because the queen is protecting this square, right? So white can take here, but we don't take here. We start to attack. That's where the fried liver attack starts. Knight takes on f7. Well, it might not start there, but probably starts on knight to g5. But that's where the interesting part gets. Knight takes on f7. Well, the king can take, of course. The king has to take. So the attack starts here. Queen here, right? So it's up to black. What does black wants to do here? Because you notice that it's a check, and I'm attacking the knight as well, right? So if the king moves away, I can take here for free. If the king comes here and protect the knight and become aggressive, the king is now exposed. It's towards the center. So the attacks will come now, right? So we can analyze this part now. We want our piece back, and the king now is exposed and not castled, right? So the attack is there. So take for instance now, the king decides to be a bit aggressive. A lot can happen here, right? We can have something like knight to f3, attacking. He will protect probably. I'm gonna castle. He's gonna probably play something like c6. I'm just gonna play like things which are natural, put more pressure towards the center, right? So let's take for instance he plays here, and I'm just gonna put more pressure. Do you realize? Let's say he plays bad chess. So what can he do here? He's probably gonna lose this game. This game is probably lost now, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna be checkmated at some point. You know, it's gonna be a bad game for him and for everyone who's gonna play as black here. So we don't want such position. Let's move to another thing. A Lopez Trap. I've never thought of such Lopez Trap, but then let's analyze it. So e4 is played in Lopez, e5 is played. I have poor connection, so that's why it takes time to move sometimes. So e5, knight to f3, then knight to c6 is gonna be played after knight to f3. Knight to c6, bishop to b5. That's Lopez for you, right? So what does black does here after bishop to b5? Okay, knight c to e7. This is a weird move, going back. So white can take here. Well, white must take, but sometimes people like too careful, right? They'll find themselves playing such moves. D3 to protect first before they take, right? And black now is gonna try something like c6 first, right? c6 first now, provoking the bishop to go back. Take for instance, the knight now comes here, and now white decides to take this pawn. This one is a poisonous pawn because now you're gonna have something like check here. Now you realize that it's actually a fork, threatening the king and the knight at the same time, right? So the moment you protect here, we're gonna take the knight, right? So let's just recap a bit and see. So it's e4, e5. Okay, no, e4, e5. No, that's not e4, e5. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop to b5. The knight goes back, which is weird, right? Then we have d3. Then he plays knight to f6, right? Then immediately when knight takes on e5, we have c6, right? After c6, we realize we open for the queen now. We are preparing for the check so that we can move and take the knight, right? So the moment the bishop goes back, we have our check here. When the knight blocks, we're gonna take here immediately. Do you get that? That's how we're gonna win material. Let's move to the next puzzle. So this one is the most popular puzzle, if I may say, and is the most interesting, right? What do they call it? I just want the proper name. I can't see the name here, but I'm just gonna do it. E4, E5. We used to call it, oh my gosh, trap, if I'm not mistaken, back in the days when I was studying chess. E4, E5, knight f3, bishop to c4, probably d6 first, right? Then I'm gonna play knight to c3. You realize that everything is natural, right? Then black decides to play bishop to g4, pinning my knight, right? So I can take here, but it's not ideal because I'm not yet ready to take here. If I take here, it's gonna, let me show you something. If I take here, it's gonna take here, and you realize I cannot take here now, right? So you can take, so he's gonna protect. But now I'm gonna prepare this move with h3. Then when he goes back now, I can actually take here now, because when he takes here, I can take here. When he takes here, I have a check to regain my material. And you realize that now do I have a pawn now? Yes, I have a pawn now, right? So let's recap a bit. So what if now when I take here, someone might say, why not take the queen? Okay, fine. Let's take the queen. That's the interesting part of it. So now we're going to have check here. King comes here. That's the only square, if I'm not mistaken. Knight to d5. That's a checkmate because you cannot go anywhere. That's the trap. That's where the trap lies, right? Awesome. Let's see. Do I have any other trap? The last one. What's this? Should I? Okay, let's check another trap. Before I close, because I don't think I have any other. Wait, people, like, another thing to note, just to go very basic and simple. 3-move checkmate. I hope we all know it, right? E4, E5, bishop to C4. If someone plays here, you play your queen here. If they play here, you just checkmate them. It's 3 moves, right? So how do we prevent it? You can play your queen here, prevent the checkmate, and as well the pawn, right? Because if he comes here and you protect checkmate by playing this, You're exposing your pawn and you're exposing checkmate. Do you see that? Awesome. Let me see if we have any other traps to do. E4, E5, knight to F3, knight to, let's see, to C6, right? Bishop to C4. This is another trap. When someone plays knight to D4, I advise you not to take this pawn. This pawn is just a poisonous pawn, because after queen to G5, a lot is happening, right? So white might want to take this pawn. After taking this pawn, white is convinced that he has pinned both the knight, both the queen and the rook, right? But black is gonna continue and takes here, right? Of course, black cannot take here, because if black takes here, we're gonna checkmate him check, right? White means so white is gonna avoid the checkmate and play the rook here. So we avoid checkmate, we play the rook here. Queen takes check. Some people are greedy, they wouldn't block with the queen, they're gonna block with the bishop. So afterwards, gonna be a checkmate, right? So I think this will be the last puzzle which I'm gonna solve. Thank you for watching and please subscribe. Sharp.